Welcome to the Success with Jewelry podcast, where we invite you inside our conversations about business success and marketing for jewelry designers and entrepreneurs.
We're Laryssa and Liz, jewelry marketing experts with a combined 16 years of experience in jewelry marketing and proven track records in helping jewelry brands meet their goals. When you listen to or watch this podcast, you get an intimate and exclusive peek behind the curtain of all the things you wish you could know about earning success in this industry.
Welcome to episode 89. In this episode, we'll finally be celebrating our podcast and recapping a few of our favorite episodes. We'll also share how you can try out being an insider. In the bonus content of this episode, we'll be sharing what's on our minds now and brainstorming ideas for future episodes. To get access to exclusive content as well as direct access to me and Laryssa, sign up by visiting successwithjewelry.com. Hey, Laryssa, let's get into it.
Happy second, almost podcast anniversary to us.
I know. Can you believe that we still haven't celebrated our first anniversary or like the big milestone of 50 episodes?
Well, that's what today is all about, right? We're making up for lost time.
Yep, totally. We're just a little delayed, but also a little bit early in celebrating our second
Yeah.
podcast anniversary. And soon, probably by the end of the summer, we'll hit 100 episodes, which is huge also.
Very exciting. That's a big milestone.
It's a big milestone. It's a big milestone. I didn't think we'd make it. I mean, no, I knew we would make it. What am I talking about? Like, you and I are not quitters. We keep going. But it is cool. And actually, when I was putting this outline together, and I think you'd agree with this too, that like our more recent episodes are some of our best episodes.
I think so. I think that's just what happens with podcasting. Like you learn, you evolve, you get better, you figure out like what's the point of what you're doing.
Totally, find your groove. And like
Yeah.
you hear more feedback of like what people actually like. And I think that feedback I hear a lot about this podcast is they like that, and we knew this already, like going into this, that people liked actionable and short and actionable. But I think that something I've learned from feedback is that people also like kind of the casual conversation.
I was just going to say that too, even without tapping feedback. Cause I think at the beginning when we were trying to figure out, we were like so structured and like following an outline. And we're like, okay, we got to hit all these points. And it's just become more of a conversation. Hopefully that's more fun for people.
I think it's more fun to listen to. When I listen to podcasts, I want to feel like I know them. Like it's there's the like casual stuff going on. Like if I were to tell viewers what was happening in my world right now is that like I'm wearing earbuds because there's some work going on in my house and they don't fit my ears and they're like falling out. But like that type of stuff or like the real life experiences, like when I went off about the kimchi, the people selling kimchi at the local market and how they like told their story so well. Like I think those types of things really like add to the whole like all of the lessons we're trying to share.
Yeah, like between client meetings this week, I was giving my dog baths because she had fleas. And that's the stuff people just don't realize, you know?
That we're real and relatable.
Yeah.
Anyway, what we want to do also kind of to celebrate and to invite more people to try out being an insider is for the next month. If you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or simply message us or send us a DM and allow us to shout you out on social media, we'll send you a link to try out being an insider for 3 months. So you'll get 3 months of free access to try out being an insider. So you'll get to listen to all of the bonus content.
All the bonus content where we go on other tangents that hopefully you enjoy.
So many tangents. There's some good stuff in the bonus content.
Yeah, we get juicy, we get real.
Yep. I love the bonus content. So I'll post a reminder on social media and we'll talk about this again towards the end of the podcast. But leave us a review, let us know you did, and we'll send you a special link so you can check it out. Thanks for listening. I guess we should add that here. We really
Yeah,
appreciate all of our listeners.
I know. If you've been following us since the beginning, well, wow. Thank you so much.
And I know there's many of you out there and we appreciate you so much.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So let's get into some of our favorite episodes and tips. And the first one I just like immediately thought of when I was putting this together is the one where we audit our own marketing. And that's
That's
episode number
still like
78.
reverberating in my head because I'm like, there's so much we could still be doing better, because we're both like, in a way, type A, I think. Would you say you're
Mhm.
type A, Liz?
I'm type A, but I'm also a little creative brained, but I'm type A
Yeah.
about it, I think.
Yeah, I can relate to that. And so we're like, how can we make this better?
And it's hard when you have no game plan. And I actually took some of the ideas that came up from uh, that podcast and put it into like action for obviously our Instagram, which we actually have results and we have 3 months of increase in Instagram engagement, which is super cool. And we'll share that the report with you so everybody can check it out. But I use that on my email marketing too. Is like if I have a system in place and I stay super consistent in this, it's going to pay off. And it makes it so much easier to do marketing. And that was like the biggest takeaway from that episode for me, which is so silly because I do that for all of my clients. But you don't think about doing it for yourself until you kind of like audit yourself and then have somebody to talk to about it.
Yeah. And I think since the beginning, we both naturally kind of gravitated to certain like roles and responsibilities for this podcast. You'd be surprised, listeners, how much like work is involved in this. And I think we kind of were just casually doing that, but we really clarified like, okay, Liz is going to take over the social media stuff. I'm really going to be focused on the email and the production and the uploading and things like that. So, yeah, that helps too.
Yes, so it is a lot of work. And actually, I forgot to tell you this, but I had a podcast editing company reach out to me and ask if we edit this ourselves. And the answer is yes. And no, we're not looking to hire out just yet.
Were
But
they
it,
criticizing it?
I don't know. It was actually just a straightforward, hey, wondering if you edit your own podcast kind of thing.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
We do. We do it all ourselves. And so I think that, I mean, that's a huge piece that you do because you handle the technical things and the podcasty stuff. And then obviously, like do a lot of Instagrams for a lot of people and manage that. So that makes sense for me to be doing. But I think one of the biggest things that takes so much time is like the brainstorming topics of like, what are we going to be talking about?
Yeah, and I think people listening can relate because it's so much demand to like, oh, there's another week coming and another week coming and another week coming, and you have to keep doing your marketing.
Yeah, and it's like you have to keep churning out content. Sometimes, like for around Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving, it's like, oh, good, we can skip a week,
Yeah,
and
I
then
know. I know. I'm like, oh, it's a holiday. I can kind of get away with like not doing it now.
because yeah, it's a lot. But anyway, episode number 78, auditing our own marketing. I think that's one of my favorites. And then some other ones I loved are 21 and 22, which is a little series about e-commerce, and it's about conversion strategies and product pages. But I love this because they're super informative. If you're wondering about e-commerce, those are some great episodes to listen to, but they really showcase Laryssa's knowledge and her obsession with AOV.
You remember that? How passionate I got about it.
So passionate about AOV. And, to be honest, I'd never really thought about AOV before.
I'm glad I opened your mind to it.
Yeah, I think you opened a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, that was a good episode and something that should be like revisited pretty often, I think, because that can change for a business like over time.
Definitely. And I think that actually like our earlier episodes are really good to revisit just in general because we are very technical in the information that we're presenting.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of great resources in those. If you haven't listened before, if you've just discovered us now, it's really smart to go back, I think.
Definitely.
And then this is a lot of numbers I'm going to throw at you, but essentially I love all of our email marketing content because I think that's something that we both really align on. I mean, we align on most things, but email marketing is something we're both passionate about. We see the power in it, and it's something that I think everybody should add to their strategy. But we talk about this a lot, episode 9, 23, 24, 25, 26. That's like a series there that we did. And then we revisited again in episode 71, We probably mention email marketing in like 75% of our episodes though. But those are ones specifically about it.
I didn't even realize we had so many just dedicated to email marketing. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, it's like seems like a lot.
We talk about how to grow your list. We talk about segmentation. We talk about welcome series. We talk about um, all different kinds of things with email marketing. So there's a lot of information out there in our podcast landscape about email marketing. And I love it
Yeah.
all. And then I just want to shout out our interviews. I mean, I think that they were all really good. And I think that it's always good to get somebody else's perspective. I mean, it's amazing. Sometimes I think about all of the like really talented and intelligent people in our industry that I've met and have talked to. And it's very cool to be able to bring them on the podcast and introduce them to the listeners. So our first guest ever was Sarah Rachel Brown. That's episode 52. And she has a great podcast called Perceived Value. And we talked about like the perceived value of marketing, which is a really great conversation. And that was really fun having our first guest. I think we started doing interviews when you were getting married because we had like kind of this gap and we were like, what do we do here?
Yeah, interviews kind of answered or addressed this issue of me sometimes not being available.
But now you're married. We got plenty of time. But we
Yeah.
still outside of like your dog's care and your other clients and the million other things that you do, you
Yeah,
know.
no big deal.
Yeah. But we realized that people really enjoy interviews, so we're going to keep going with that. And we've done quite a few since then. Number 55 with Robin Kramer, we talk about wholesale. Robin Kramer is like an amazing resource for wholesale. She has a huge passion for it, so that's a great interview. I really loved episode number 76 with Megan Alman, and we talk about how to find your voice in your writing and in your marketing. And I think that there's a lot of amazing takeaways from that. I think the bonus episode of that is really, really good.
That
And then
one's filled with so much good stuff.
so much good stuff. And then episode number 81 is with 1,000 Facets. And this is probably the episode that I got the most DMs about, just like people really appreciating hearing her perspective. And we talk about finding your voice again, but this time we're talking about kind of your design aesthetic and building a collection.
Mhm.
And then I know this is Laryssa, one of Laryssa's favorites is number
Yeah, I
8
was just gonna say.
with Andrea Lee, the red pin geek. I mean, I learned so much from that.
I learned so much. And some of my clients ended up signing up for her course because they listened to that episode and they were like, oh my God, I need to learn all this stuff.
Yes, she is the go-to when it comes to Pinterest marketing. 100%.
Mhm.
And then that we're recording this before this comes out, but number 88 with Okay Fine, Kylie. She is a jewelry lover and collector. And I think it was really interesting to interview her because you see their collections. I followed her for years, but to hear how she got started and to learn more about why she does what she does was really cool. And then I also think from that episode, I learned a lot about engagement and Instagram and like what's going
Totally.
on there.
Mhm. It was interesting to me that she didn't take it as like a serious pursuit. It was like such a fun hobby for her. And then there are people out there who would like kill for her Instagram engagement.
Yeah. But that I think that's the biggest takeaway from that is just that you should have fun with it. You should be authentic in telling your story, and that's what leads to engagement and success.
Definitely. And then I pulled a report from our audio side of what was like our most downloaded episode of all time. And it was number 5, way back when we first started. But no surprise here, it was about Instagram strategies.
Yes, I can understand why people wanted to learn more about Instagram when we started this 2 years ago. And we've touched on it again since, like what's going on with Instagram and all of that. But yeah, I'll have to go back and listen. What was going on then? It's probably very different now.
I know. We'll revisit it.
But anyway, so those are some of our favorites. We'd love to hear what episodes you've loved, or some of your biggest takeaways. And a reminder that for the next month, if you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or simply by messaging us and allowing us to shout you out on social media, we'll send you a link to try out being an insider for 3 months.
Hooray.
Do you have a favorite episode or a big takeaway? How long have you been listening to the podcast? Let us know. Visit successwithjewelry.com. And if you love the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Send us a message or leave us a review. Thanks for being a part of the Success with Jewelry community.